Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. I got another Master Duel video for you, coming at you with some Adamancipator. So for this one, I'm hopping right into our first game instead of starting off with a combo guide, because this game I feel like shows off the one-card combo line with the Millennium Engine quite well. It's really nice that we get to open up the Quackimir Guardian for the normal summon here. Always great to start off with that. But yes, Block Dragon is back at 3, which means I definitely had to give Adamancipator another spin now that this deck is at full power. Is it quite as scary as everybody says? Not really. So, yeah, while Adamancipator is a lot of fun, I think it has a lot of very glaring weaknesses that are... I say glaring because it's kind of obvious to me that in the year 2025, Adamancipator really is not able to keep up with where modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Is at. But I did want to show off this bit of the combo line. By using all of the Millennium Engine here, including the shield, for 3 different types, we can make Curious the Lightsworn Dominion. That can dump Block Dragon, which not only mills 3, but we can then also revive Block Dragon, link it with the Curious in order to link summon a 2-material Appaloosa. And now Block Dragon, of course, will get the search for 3 rock monsters. This can be Researcher, Seeker, and Gigantes. Gigantes can special summon itself if you don't already control a rock monster. Here we led with normal summon Quackimir Guardian, so we are all good. But yeah, the thing that Adamancipator kind of has going against it, there's so many things right now. First and foremost, Droll and Lockbird and Artifact Lancia are both hand traps that are actually really good against you. Droll because you do a million searches, Lancia because you need to banish to summon a Block Dragon, and those hand traps are both being played very prominently right now. The other issue, honestly, is that outside of the Millennium Engine, you really don't have very many one-card starters. It's not really something that this deck does very well. I mean, yeah, technically any of the Adamancipator monsters could be a one-card starter, but it's very RNG dependent. Sengen Gen, though, will, of course, get you, as I just showed here, the Curious into Block Dragon line, which will get you all nice and set up for the kind of end board that people constantly doom about. I mean, this is just textbook right here, right? We've got the Appaloosa, we've got the Baron, we've got the Borreload, and it's all because of the Block Dragon right here next to both IP and Quackimir Guardian. So we're ending on 1, 2, 3 monster negates, 2 omni negates, as well as the IP into SP as well. Brutal stuff, but again, I mean, if our opponent had so many different hand traps here, they could have stopped us so much sooner. I mean, even, you know, against the Curious, right? Assuming we didn't have Quackimir Guardian, if they had like, well, even if we did have Quackimir Guardian, you know, if they had Imperm, we would have been totally screwed there, but it's Mikanko. We're going to Baron the Reflection Rondo. Going to Appaloosa the Diviner effect, attempting to dump the Herald, I would assume. Diviner is going to link into Almirage, and as they go for the Ohime effect, I'm going to use my other Appaloosa negate against that. But yeah, without the Quackimir Guardian for backup, you lose to Droll, you lose to Lancia, you lose to Nib, you lose to Ash Blossom, you lose to Valor, you lose to Imperm, you lose to, I already said Ash Blossom, you lose to Maxi and Fuelos. Yeah. It's a bit rough being Adamancipator. But hey, if the stars align and you win the coin flip and your opponent doesn't have any hand traps, then you are just going to... In some scenarios, you're going to be able to dump all over them. But again, a lot of that does come down to having the Millennium 1-card starter, or having a 2-card combo hand, or getting really lucky with your Adamancipator engine. But I have some more games to show off. Let's go into the next one. Was actually able to get some good going second games. I think this one's against Ryzeal. It's Duelist Cup game, so I can't tell you right off the bat. Information should be on screen, but... Alright, we do have the bug to help us out here. Don't like opening the Millennium Shield. That is your worst Millennium card to open with because it doesn't search the rest of your engine. But it's going to go set 2 pass. I'm going to lead with Doki Doki, summon, then discard here. Figured they'd probably have something like an Imperm, but I was totally fine with that because I now have the Block Dragon as well. I'm going to throw out a back C here, and that looks really random. But again, remember that I have the Block Dragon, so... Especially because I have 2 Max C, I might as well just get one of them in my graveyard to banish from the graveyard, right? Throwing out the Millennium Shield here. Get an extra body on board so that way I could link. Again, my thought process was I might as well get it into the graveyard. And that way I'm not just banishing it from my hand. But there's the Block Dragon. I'm going to link it off with the IP that I just made in order to summon an SP. And more importantly, we get the Block Dragon searches for the Gigantes, the Researcher, and the Seeker. Now from here, of course, we can summon Gigantes by banishing one Earth monster. Now that we have a Rock, we special Researcher. And here is the Nibiru. Gonna use the Little Knight to tag out herself with the Researcher. But, I mean, yeah, it's like I mentioned. Nib is definitely still a problem for a deck like Adamancipator. Yeah, so we're just gonna have to pass after they hand us the token, bringing back the Little Knight and Researcher. Now here is the 7th Ascension. I'm gonna throw out Maxi here, because I wasn't sure if they were going to try to go for, like, X or something else that special summons without starting a chain. So, Ryzeal is kind of one of those few decks where once I know I'm against it, I'm totally fine throwing out a preemptive Max C. But, yeah, they're just going to go for Ice Ryzeal here. Normal Ice Ryzeal, special Sword from deck. You can just search Ash Blossom here. I decided not to Ash Blossom the Sword Ryzeal search because I was thinking they might go for the Duo Drive. But them battling first is a great sign for me because it means that if they want to keep comboing, they're going to give me more draws without actually being able to OTK me here. So, sure enough, they're just going to go into a quick detonator, drawing me into a Doki Doki before passing. And we're going to top deck a Researcher, which is pretty great, but we still had Block Dragon in the graveyard, so, you know, even if I had to go normal summon Seeker, that still would have been completely fine. Here's the attempt to detonator pop. But remember, Block Dragon has a secret effect. Rock monsters cannot be destroyed except by battle while Block Dragon is on the field, which means that Detonator can do nothing against us, and the Ryzeal opponent is going to concede. So, yeah, that is one small way in which you actually have a good matchup in the meta here. Block Dragon making your build, or your board, rather, unpoppable by the Detonator. Now let's go into our other going second game here. This one is going to be against Maliss. I remember it is a very strange Maliss build, but going second against Maliss without Adamancipator is something I wanted to show off in some capacity. So, hand would have been phenomenal going first. Well, it would have been fine going first. Would have been kind of reliant on the Block Dragon search to go through. I mean, you always are to an extent, but yeah, here I'm going to Ash the normal summon backup Adagnister, assuming I was up against Maliss, and knowing how normal summon backup Adagnister can... Actually, you wouldn't go normal summon another hand trap, right? So that actually would not have led to plays by itself, but I'm just going to use Ash all the same here. Yeah, so we're finding ourselves up against a Max C here. I'm going to throw out my own Max C as well, because I decided at this point that I was just going to try to go for it, as far as, like, you know, OTKing. And I'm going to summon out Quacky Mirror Guardian, and then banish the Max C among other Earth monsters to summon Block Dragon. But we got hit with Solemn Judgment, which I was not expecting. I thought it was going to be like TB11. That's part of why I Maxied, was to force an early TB11 and just see if that's what it was. But no, Solemn Judgment was not on my bingo sheet for my Maliss opponent to be having against me. So I'm going to go Little Knight pass here into my opponent's Max C. And they're going to go normal summon Necroface. And at this point I was like, what am I playing against? They have Solemn Judgment, they have Necroface, but they also have backup Adagnister. Is this like a weird pile deck, or is it just the weirdest Maliss build I've ever seen? And it's going to be the latter. Now, I don't actually have a link 3 that I can make off of Little Knight plus Block Dragon, but yeah, it turns out they had a TB11 here to summon out the White Rabbit to knock it OTK'd. You know, the funny thing is, I actually did almost play a different Link 3, kind of for this exact scenario, but yeah, I didn't have it here, so I can't keep comboing out. Now they're finally doing Maliss stuff. March here to summon White Rabbit F to set GWC. Now, at this point, I'm pretty convinced that I'm going to end up using this Little Knight against Splash Mage. Link Decoder here made me a little bit nervous, but they just kind of went into Lizardos after making Link Decoder anyway, so I was like, oh, okay. Well, that's fine. But I will end up using Little Knight against the Lizardos here just to stop them from being able to link climb. Looks like they're going to try to reduce the attack of my Block Dragon with the Lizard Osef. Necroface gets to banish 5 from each. This will trigger the Dormouse on their end. But even with GWC and Dormouse, they still can't get enough bodies to actually start link climbing. So, and of course, Block Dragon, when destroyed in battle, is going to give me my searches. Another thing I noticed that you probably saw from their end as well, because of their Solemn Judgment, they were down to 300 life points, which means without the life point gained from GWC, they're not able to actually summon any more Maliss monsters off the banish. But yeah, definitely a weird Maliss build. But hey, we won against Maliss going second. That's a dub in my book. So, alright, I think I have one more game to show off here. Yeah, one last going first game to round things out here. That going first game was against Mikanko, which I actually lost that coin flip, but of course it's Mikanko, so they had me go first. Well, I mean, I say that, but Mikanko can definitely go first as well. And I mean, come on, could you ask for a more textbook, you know, Adamancipator hand here? We even have the call by for the Max C. It's so good. I did actually rank up a fair bit in the Duelist Cup while playing Adamancipator. I think this took me from levels 12 to 15. Now, granted, you don't lose rank when you lose during those ranks, and I will say there were quite a few hands where I totally just lost to, like, again, any given hand trap, you know, negate on my Curious, draw on Lockbird. I got Lancia at least once when the Block Dragon hit the graveyard, so yeah, it's kind of rough out there. And then you have situations like this where I summon Seeker and Researcher, but whiff on both, so it's like, alright, I guess I just have to use this Quaki Mirror Guardian as a, you know, combo piece and just really hope my opponent doesn't have anything. And here, thankfully, they didn't, but there were scenarios like that where I had to use Quaki Mirror Guardian as a combo piece, only for them to have a hand trap, and then I just lose to it, you know? But I don't know. I'll go over pros and cons a little bit here in the deck breakdown in a moment, but this turn 1 hand is going very, very well. Gallant Granite to search out the Block Dragon. We can make the Baron de Fleur. I've even got the Synchro Rumble here. I do have Crimson Dragon in the extra deck, which is not that difficult to summon with, like, Analyzer plus Block Dragon, that's 4 plus 8, or, like, even, you know, throwing in, like, a Carter Hen, that's, like, 2 plus 8, could also very easily make it. Crimson Dragon is not something you should necessarily try to aim for every single duel. It's not a, like, super important part of your combo line, but having the Synchro Rumble to search off of it is nice. And oh, we are actually going to make it here. I thought we weren't going to make it. Yeah, being able to search Synchro Rumble when you do summon it is pretty nice. But even if you don't end up making the Crimson Dragon, having Synchro Rumble in general is just very nice. So here we get to end on Bestial Dissipator, Monster Negate, Dragite, Spell Trap Negate. We have the Baron de Fleur, Omni Negate, as well as IP, Block Dragon, and Carter Hen, which during my opponent's turn can make an Appaloosa for 3 materials that cannot be destroyed by card effects, which is always very nice. Yeah, so Into the Void, I don't know, it's a 60-card deck, so it could be any number of things. It could be like Exodia Deep Draw, it could be a weird Sky Striker Tenpai, it could be just a weird Sky Striker build in general, who knows, but yeah, after I make the 3-man Appaloosa with all my other negates up and go for the Block Dragon searches, they decide that's enough, and they go for the concede. So there's our duels. Let's go ahead and talk about the build a little bit here. So here it is. I'm actually on a 40-card build. You might be wondering, well, why not 60? Don't you want grass to mill Block Dragon? And I think that was more important to do when Block Dragon was at 1. Because obviously you're just going to have very low odds of opening Block Dragon as a 1-of in a 40-card deck. So with grass milling so much, it's worth going up to 60 to have another card that gets you access to it. But now that Block Dragon is at 3, I really want the consistency of opening the Sengenjin to go into Millennium, into Curious a lot more often. Plus, with Block Dragon being at 3, now I'm fine going to 40 because it's now so much easier to actually just hard open Block Dragon and not have to search it. It's so much more likely that's going to be the case. So yeah, that's a huge pro of playing Adamancipator right now. Of course, Block Dragon being at 3 means the deck, like I said, is at full power, which means that you can play a more streamlined build like this. Another big pro of this deck is there is so much room in this extra deck, which you wouldn't think with a you know, board spam deck like Adamancipator. You'd think there'd be a ton of different cards that are competing for slots here, but like Doom Dragon is very optional. I'm not even playing Zombie Vampire. You don't even summon Doom Dragon most of the time, but I like having the sort of grind game or going second option off the Millennium Engine. I really like having Doom Dragon for that. Arclight is not needed, but you can summon it with 2 + 2 is not that hard to do in this deck. Coral Dragon is definitely not at all needed, but sometimes you want a tuner instead of Raptite. Even Crimson Dragon plus Secret Rumble I think is fairly optional. So yeah, there's a ton of different stuff you can play in the extra deck, and that's another big pro of this deck. The cons, I mean, I kind of mentioned them throughout the video, but you lose to Droll, you lose to Lancia. I'm even playing a one of Lancia, not just against Maliss, but also as a crossout target, because so many people are on Lancia, and of course Lancia stops you from summoning your Block Dragon, so that's really rough. I probably should have a Droll as a crossout target here as well. Nibiru, not a lot of people are on, but this still really hurts you, and I think the biggest drawback of Adamancipator that I mentioned before is that this deck really only has like 3 dedicated 1-card starters. Every other combo line is going to either need to be multiple cards to like go into Gallant Granite or something, or you just have to really get lucky off of your first, you know, Adamancipator Excavate. You know, once you start flipping those cards over, really makes this deck a lot more RNG dependent, even than something like Tier Limit. So that's, I think, the biggest thing Adamancipator has going against it, and why I don't think this deck is that great. Also, why I think Block Dragon is totally fine at 3. Also, a lot of people have said, oh, Block Dragon at 3 for Gem Knights, but I don't even see Gem Knights using this card. It's funny how for a long time, people said that Block Dragon needs to be banned and stay banned forever because it limits the design of rock monsters. It's an argument that people have made about other cards as well. However, I really have never been a fan of that argument in general, and I think Block Dragon is definitely a good example of why that argument kind of falls apart there. Keep in mind, the OCG never banned Block Dragon. It's just stayed at 1, and Adamancipator very naturally fell off. And yeah, I mean, even with Block Dragon at 3, we're not seeing, you know, all of a sudden decks like Gem Knight are stupid OP. No, I think that Block Dragon did deserve to get limited, but I don't think it ever deserved to get banned. And I think it's completely fine at 3. I think a lot of people would agree with that, but yeah, that's all I got for you. Thanks for checking out this follow-up to Adamancipator. Been having a ton of fun making these deck primers, and I should have more content available on the channel that hasn't been uploaded yet. So if you want to see those deck primers / other content, make sure to join as a channel member. You'll get immediate access to all uploaded content before it goes live, on top of course, getting your name in the credits and supporting the channel, which really does go a long way. So thank you all for watching, and thank you to those who choose to support in that regard. But that is all for now. Let us move on to the outro. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Thank you so very much for watching all the way to the very end of the video, which, by the way, is one of the best ways to support the channel. Speaking of supporting the channel, take a look at the names on screen. These are folks who have been so generous as to either join as a YouTube member or subscribe over on patreon.com/Hexlex to support. There's also perks for doing so. If you would like to see YouTube videos early, as well as some exclusive videos that get uploaded to YouTube, but for one reason or another I decide not to publish, definitely go ahead and hit that join button to see content early, as well as some exclusive content. If you're looking for more exclusive content, over on patreon.com, I upload exclusive videos that are not posted on YouTube just about every single day. Whether you choose to subscribe over on Patreon, join as a YouTube member, or simply continue to watch, your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so very much. But for now, this is Hexlex. I am signing out, and I hope that you have a fantastic day.